to a big night for Liverpool and Manchester City in the Champions League this evening, with both ties still in the balance. Well, Pep Guardiola has never reached the last four as City boss, and they're taking a 2-1 lead into their match with Borussia Dortmund. Now, we're going to be live to Ben Ransom shortly, whilst Jurgen Klopp's side, well, they'll need another famous European night at Anfield if they're to overturn a 3-1 deficit against Real Madrid. So let's go live then to Vinny O'Connor, who's at Anfield for us this afternoon. Look, Vinny, we know all too well that Liverpool have had some special comebacks there at Anfield, but how much more difficult do you think this is going to be without the fans?
It is a massive test facing them. When you look back, I've got my checklist here of Liverpool's famous European nights here, going back to 1976 against Bruges. Of course, they conceded 2 in the opening 15 minutes, but the tie turned around with goals from Ray Kennedy, Jimmy Case and Kevin Keegan. Of course, a subsequent 1-1 draw away at Bruges. Then Liverpool, their second UEFA Cup, St Etienne the following season. 1 down from the first leg. 42 seconds in here at Anfield, Kevin Keegan equalises. They then concede the away goal, needed to score 2. Ray Kennedy scoring with around half an hour to go before super sub David Fairclough, 6 minutes from time, seeing Liverpool through. Olympiacos group stage 2004. It looked like, of course, Liverpool were going out of the competition that they went on to win. Of course, say 2004, it was the 2004-2005 season. Neil Mellor, who we'll speak to a little bit later on, scored with 10 minutes to go before that goal from Steven Gerrard. Dortmund in 2016, the Europa League, drew in the quarter-final over there, 1-1. They trailed 3-1 and 4-2 on aggregate here before Coutinho and Sacco gave Liverpool hope. Dejan Lovren then, of course, in stoppage time, seeing Liverpool through. And the most recent one, of course, that famous night against Barcelona. What a night it was. I remember Liverpool fans turning up here as well on that occasion, and there wasn't really belief that they could go through, but because of that history that they have, they had a kind of expectation that something just might happen. When you got into the ground, there was a fervour about the place. That seemed to translate itself into the players as well. They scored, of course, after 7 minutes through Divock Origi, and as the game gradually wore on, you saw that belief grow. And of course, we all know what happened. Liverpool eventually beating Barcelona 4-0 on the night. With all those fans behind them, it'll be such a different occasion here because they don't have that backing. As I say, the fact that the fans walked up here to Anfield, they had that expectation that something might happen. It translated itself into the players. Now the players have got to kind of generate that themselves this evening. Whether they can do it will be a massive test for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's that history that you've outlined there, Vinny, doesn't it, that raises expectations for fans. So many incredible nights. But Liverpool conceded those 3 goals in Madrid. They can't afford to concede, well, any really tonight. So what are the big decisions that Klopp has to make as they attempt to win this game by 2 goals?
Well, also looking at history, we've got to remember it doesn't always go to plan here at Anfield either. Remember last season against Atletico Madrid, it was the last time that Anfield was actually full of supporters as well, because that was immediately before lockdown over here. And that night it looked like Liverpool were going to turn it around as well. Firmino had scored it in extra time. It looked like Liverpool were potentially going to go on and go through. But of course, a couple of goals from Llorente and eventually one just as the game was coming to a conclusion from Morata saw Atletico Madrid through on that occasion. Tonight, it's about that attention to detail, isn't it? Jurgen Klopp spoke about it yesterday, needing to defend better whilst also creating chances themselves. So how are they going to do that? They were susceptible to the long ball over the top over in Madrid. What's the best way to go about stopping that? Is it to get pressure on the ball with Toni Kroos? If that is the way, then obviously you'd imagine Fabinho staying in midfield, or indeed is switching Fabinho back to centre-half an option, in so much as he'd be a better equipped centre-half to deal with that long ball over the top. On top of that, of course, there's decisions up front as well. Is Jurgen Klopp going to go with his traditional front 3? Is that the best way to maintain that press? Is there room for Diogo Jota to maybe come in as a replacement, possibly for the likes of Mane, Firmino or Salah? Although you'd imagine Salah, given his goal record, is an undoubted starter. Potentially, is there room for all 4? What is for certain is that if Jurgen Klopp gets his game plan perfect, then Liverpool have a chance against Real Madrid tonight.
Vinny, brilliant. Thank you so much. Meanwhile, Manchester City are in Germany preparing for the second leg of their tie with Borussia Dortmund. Now, they're taking a 2-1 lead into the game, and Ben Ransom is outside the Etihad for us as we speak. Ben, bit of skullduggery going on here, is there? Tell us about a little disruption in City's preparations.
Yes, we're hearing there from Vinny, interesting about the advantage that being at home in a second leg can bring in terms of the fans. Obviously, they're absent from Anfield, absent from the Kop. In the same way at the Westfalenstadion in Dortmund, they're absent from that huge wall. That's where they've had some really famous nights, the fans behind the goal cheering them on. So they can't be inside the stadium. Former player İlkay Gündoğan spoke to the media yesterday, and he said that actually that might give the travelling players a little bit of an advantage. They don't have to play in that cauldron of an atmosphere. Well, the Dortmund fans have tried to have their own little impact on the game before the game. A little bit naughty, but last night our colleagues at Sky Germany picked up some pictures. Some Dortmund fans, a group of them, around 17 we believe, set off some rather large fireworks outside Manchester City's city centre hotel at 2:45 a.m. The players can't fail to have been woken up by that, and then again at 4:30. So twice through the night they were woken up by Dortmund fans. Not the first time, it has to be said, that clubs have gone away to a European city and had to encounter something like that. We've seen it in European Championships, we've seen it at World Cups as well, haven't we? A little bit naughty though, so hopefully the Manchester City players were quick to get back off to sleep, because they'll have needed their rest, because it's a huge game for them tonight. Hugely significant for this group, and in particular for the manager Pep Guardiola, who has not won the Champions League for a decade at the end of this season. 2011, when Barcelona beat Manchester United at Wembley, the last time he won the competition, the last time he was in a final, after having such tremendous early success. And in recent years, it's been the competition where you have to say City haven't quite managed to fulfil their potential. Quarter-finalists in its first year, semi-finalists, they've not managed to ever get there. Quarter-finalists against Liverpool, quarter-finalists against Tottenham, quarter-finalists against Lyon. The last 3 seasons they've gone out at this very stage of the competition, and Guardiola's hoping that the players will have learnt as a group from those disappointing occasions, and they can put that into getting through to the next hurdle tonight.
We know what you have to do. Do what you have done all season through one game, analyze, read it, and play a football game. And if we want to win, we have to deserve it. We have to go for it, and that is going to happen in the way we have done many times this season.
So the one thing you would say about Manchester City this season is at the moment they are playing some all-conquering football. They're still on for a quadruple. Pep Guardiola and all the players know that every game from here on in is effectively a cup final. It's must win. No, not least at the game tonight. They have to go and try and get a result. He's not going to sit back. That's not the way City play. They're a possession team. They want to impose themselves on a game, and they will do that again tonight. There's no thought of going there and trying to defend the 2-1 lead they already have. For City, they do have Aymeric Laporte back in the squad, but no Sergio Aguero, who misses out. As for Dortmund, slightly different conundrum for them in that they got that away goal. They're in the tie. Conceding late means they do have to score. They're well aware of that. But their coach, Edin Terzic, when I spoke to him yesterday, told me that they have to balance that. They can't just go all-out attack, because ultimately they've just got to stay in the game. So I think it'll be quite a cagey affair early on. But when they've got someone like Erling Haaland up front, they know they can score. The big doubt for Dortmund is that Mats Hummels and Marco Reus, scorer in the first leg, are both doubts. They both had to be substituted in the Bundesliga game at the weekend. No update yet as to whether they'll be fit enough to feature tonight. One man who definitely won't be fit, though, I'm afraid to say, is England winger Jadon Sancho. He is back in training, but this game's come too soon for him.